Hello everyone, my name is Thane Kirby. Welcome to Talkback. We return tonight in Auckland. It's stormy outside. It's still warm night, but it is a classic winter night. And the media have been beating up the storm the last couple of days, like they're beating up the European summer. I think they hit 40 degrees. But anyways, she's a real one across the country. This is Talkback. It's an opportunity for you to chime on in if you're watching us live on Facebook tonight, to ask some questions. Every Wednesday, I think we're doing fortnightly, but it could heat up because I've actually been contacted by a couple of other people who want to jump on. But Wednesday night is dedicated to politics, and no one knows politics like our first and only guest, Martyn Bradbury. Very good evening to you, Martyn. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Nice to have you back on the show.
It is such a pleasure to see you fortnightly.
Yeah, fortnightly I think works. Everyone's got a lot of stuff on, and so yeah. But I always love talking politics with you. How's the number one podcast?
The number one political podcast in the country. Look, it's fantastic. Going from strength to strength. The working group. We did a photo shoot today, Damien and I. The new publicity material that we're doing and putting it out. But yeah, no, it's fun. It continues to lead, and it's agenda setting.
Fantastic. Okay, I'd love to talk Auckland Mayoralty. This big race that's currently on. You've got Efeso Collins, you've got Wayne Brown, you got that chick, and then you've got the guy from HQ. What's his name? Buffalo Gruff. Now, he's a lovely chap and a real talent. But it's been late and I've had a long day. Remind us who we've got and remind us who we should take seriously.
We have currently in the leading in the latest poll, Efeso Collins on 27%, Leo Malloy on 23%, Viv Beck on 18%, Wayne Brown on 15%, and Craig Lord rounding things up on 13%. It's interesting. The first poll that came out, Efeso and Leo were neck and neck, but Wayne and Viv were right behind them. This latest poll shows that Leo has pulled away from that group. And if you are a Wayne Brown or Viv Beck supporter, you'll look at that poll and go, oh, my candidate probably won't win. And you'll see a lot of that vote drift back over to Leo Malloy. So he's got more places, I think, to pick up votes than Efeso does. It's going to be interesting, I think, particularly for Wayne Brown. If you're competing if you're competing with Craig Lord, I think, for votes share, it's time to probably wind the campaign up, I think.
Wayne's going to stick it. I mean, Wayne's a wealthy guy as well.
Oh, very, very wealthy, but surely there's some self-dignity there.
Yeah. Hey, so I follow Leo Malloy on his HQ, and also I follow Wayne Brown. I follow Leo on his personal page or campaign page. So I see a lot of their stuff. But where is Efeso coming from? I don't see any of his ads. I see a lot of his interviews. Virally, he's up to fuck all. I don't even know what's he writing the mayoralty in on. I just don't. Where's this all coming from? How is this guy in the lead?
It's interesting. I think Leo Malloy is just absolutely dominating the social media area. He's got more people following him on social media than all the other candidates added together. I think Efeso is making a play directly to specific targeted areas of the community to bring them out and as a broad tent campaign. He is strong, and I think that he's got a lot of support, and he does have a machine around him in terms of the Labour and Green party. But I think that there is a real rising level of cynicism and anger and resentment, I think, in Auckland at everything, the frustration and the grumpiness. And Leo has become I think, a protest vote, a protest candidate. And I think people have fallen in love with him in such a way. They loved his Guy Williams interview, and weirdly enough, Guy Williams is getting shit because Guy platformed Leo and gave him space to do this and do that, and now it's become an issue of gagging comedians and culture war stuff, which I don't think the left want to fight the Auckland Mayoralty on. So it's interesting to watch the dynamics at play.
Leo is your classic oyster, isn't he? I mean, you either love or hate oysters, but there's no until you're forced into it and said, "Look, mate, you've got to try an oyster, or else that's it." You ain't going near it. But I've seen Leo speak, and this is not a party political broadcast.
Yep.
I've seen him talk, and he is well researched. This guy must do a shit ton of reading, and he's got COVID right. The stuff he was saying in mainstream media during the COVID stuff, the majority of that stuff was like bang on. You know, this guy's done his research. If anyone deserves to be there, it's kind of like Leo Malloy. Weirdly, it's kind of like Leo Malloy. I don't see anything from that guy. I don't know. I want to hear more. I don't know where I can find this. Is he actually? What is this guy running a Bebo or MySpace? Where is he online?
Look, I mean, again, Leo's just dominated that social media area, and Fess is focusing in different communities in different areas. But it will be interesting to see how it comes down to play. I think that the actual interview, the TV interviews this time round, will probably have more impact than any single other thing going into these elections.
Are you aware of any of the TV interview? Are the actual interviews coming up? Is there a special?
Yeah. Before the election, and right up, I think in October, you'll have, I think, a TVNZ, and there'll be a TV3 Auckland political debate. So I think they'll be widely watched because people will be interested.
Craigie Craig says Leo Malloy is a scumbag, plain and simple. Just ask ex-employees of his. God.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure. There's people who don't like people. I mean, the interesting thing is that he's polling so highly, and it suggests a certain populism is politically out there, and an anger and a frustration, and it's willing to go and support a candidate as different as Leo. It's reminiscent of how Trump won over the Republican Party and how the Brexit won over that debate. It brought in a whole bunch of people who normally wouldn't vote. Let's not forget, almost over 50% of Auckland doesn't even bother voting in the mayoral elections. And I think that what Leo has done, he's appealed to a group of people who weren't previously going to vote and who don't usually vote. And he's appealing to them, and they're going, yeah, I'll give you my vote.
Shit, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Getting on to national politics now. Jacinda not wearing a mask, caption photo, and just smashed on the news bulletin for the last couple of days. Man, had a shit week, hasn't she?
Oh my God. I mean, let's be honest, no one gives a shit. No one cares anymore. We're all so, we're sick of COVID, but COVID isn't sick of us. We are going through a peak. You know, the businesses are saying, open up, dump all the restrictions. We need more staff. And then the next day, all our staff is sick, and open more and allow more people. All of the customers are sick. I mean, this is one of the realities with COVID. It's not over. It will keep coming in waves. Different variants will come forward. Some of the variants will be quite serious. Other variants will not. Our hospital system will teeter constantly. It's going to exhaust people. We are in for a long run here. I don't see this realistically ending for another 5 years.
BA 2.5.
Yep.
There's some monkeypox is now here, and I see there's something in the
mouth.
Like the Africans, where it's killing people. Like 90 people have died, and there's no cure.
Oh, that's the Martyn. Yeah, it's a cousin to the to Ebola.
great. Okay. But we just can't fucking win it.
One of the impacts of a rapidly warming planet, and as you're cutting deeper and deeper into rainforests, and you're coming into contact with lots of different animals, these dormant viruses suddenly leap out and cross over into our species. This is part of a symptom of climate change, and we're going to have to get used to more of these viruses and more of these diseases coming out. We're not going to go backwards on this. This is just part of the globalized future that we've got.
Yeah. What do you reckon to this, the light changing? I mean, Labour ain't going to move nothing into red. I mean, this is going to kill their election campaign. You know, they're buying us off.
So many people are over, you know, and let's remind everyone, and you've walked this valley of death, Thane. You know, for most people, it will just be a mild sickness that they'll bounce right back from. Right? That's for the majority of people, it's not going to be that life-shattering. For some people with long COVID, that makes it a lot more difficult. And with older people with mobility, with other illnesses which make them sick, it's going to go through there. It'll hurt the weakest amongst us. But for everyone else, they're just going to go, screw it, we just want to move on. The problem is you're just constantly going to have this background feedback of people getting sick and not being able to work. This is just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. Have you seen all the kind of warning advertisements for tsunamis of late? I think even the government has got like a tsunami action plan. I'm hearing radio ads on tsunamis, and I'm thinking, what do they know? Are we tsunami season? Is it earthquake season?
Look. We are waiting, aren't we, for a massive 8 magnitude alpine quake that is out there just waiting. It's going to, likely to have been triggered in the next 50 years. It goes off, I think the Alpine fault goes off every 300 years, and it's been 307 years since it last went off. So it's just ready to go there. And when that triggers, you could get it jumping to the Hikurangi fault and causing tsunamis all along the east coast as well. So I think that they're just getting around to the whole, well, if we are expecting a massive alpine fault rupture at some point, we may as well update all of the tsunami stuff as well. I think it's probably more a funding decision than any previous than the new knowledge that something's coming.
Okay, what are your thoughts on who's going to win the election coming up? Because you're a Labour guy from way back.
I think that we stand to face an incredibly steep economic recession. The full impact of what's going on in the Ukraine hasn't really been felt here yet because China keeps having this zero COVID policy. As soon as it breaks out, they shut down all the ports. So your supply side chains are still going to be pretty screwed up, again, for like a couple of years at least. Because we get a lot of our tourism from China, and then maybe very difficult about who gets in and who gets out. I don't think we'll see a big tourism boost in New Zealand to help the economy out. So the recession that's coming will be pretty steep and pretty scary. And I think that in a crisis situation, people are going to look to the government for help. Where we are going into 2023, I think it'll come down to who is New Zealand more scared of? Is New Zealand more scared of a National Act government, or are they more scared of a Labour, Green, Māori Party government? And that will be the deciding factor for a lot of New Zealanders. Who's going to make them feel safer and who is less scary? Because I get pretty hard.
I have a friend who voted for the Labour government, And, it came down to the wire, didn't it? Winston Peters is the kingmaker there, and
Yep.
he went with Labour the day. And she went in on girl power. Jacinda is fantastic for us. This is a great opportunity. And if they do half of what they said they were going to do, we're going to be living in utopia. This Zealand's going to be transformed into a very progressive place. Well, quarters happened, and we are where we are now. And there's a lot of factors, as you say. But then I asked her now,
Yep.
So who are you going for? Still on the Jacinda train? And she said, no, I'm totally disillusioned. I feel like I've been lied to, and I'm worse off. I don't think she's getting us, directing us through this pandemic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, who are you going to vote for? She doesn't know, but it's not going to be them. And I think a lot of New Zealanders are in that situation. They couldn't tell you who they're going to vote for. They just know who they're not going to vote for.
I think you're absolutely right. I think such a lack of transformative change has been an absolute bugbear to this government. They didn't have a 100-day plan when they got in 2017. They didn't expect to win a majority in 2020. They haven't had a plan of how to get shit through the bureaucracy. They've poured money into the bureaucracy, but the bureaucracy's just drunk it all up. It got about its day. And so there's a real problem in terms of getting the bureaucracy, who really do run everything, to do what you want and to make life better for those sorts of things. That's that's harder than winning an election. Governing is more difficult than winning an election, and a lot of people do feel worse off, and that will be a reality. But I think that the next economic recession will be such a crisis. People will forget about what's been promised and past promises broken. And I think people will want to know, what are you going to do to protect me? And I just don't think David Seymour and Christopher Luxon are the couple that make people feel safer.
I mean, because at the moment we're talking about safe. And when there's a gun in Grey Lynn going off in the middle of the night, you think that's going to scare a lot of people. Things are what they used to.
Yeah. And it's going to get worse. Let's be very clear. For all of the pressure and stress that's going on the middle classes and the upper middle classes and people are, tradies and what have you, all of that economic pressure that's going on there, for the people who are in the sort of the underclass and the beneficiaries and the very poor and the criminal fraternity, those pressures are just as extreme, and they're going to end up in violence, and we're going to have more violence. We're only getting our head around what post-traumatic stress disorder we've all had from being locked up for long periods of time. There is a certain level of entropy, I think, that's going to hit us. But it doesn't. I think that people are still going to have to make a decision about who makes them feel safer or who they feel is going to look after them more. I still think that's one things.
You fuck with people's shopping list with the mints and the milk and the Coke Zero, and you smash them in the pocket at the petrol station, and they're making less. And then yet the government servants, their wages are always going up, never stop going up. Everyone's getting paid a lot. $100 million to moteliers, I was reading today, to take advantage of money being thrown at the homeless. I mean, they've got to go somewhere. It's like, almost feels like the Labour government, like, you find those, England brought in the grey squirrel to eat some berry from a tree, and then it destroyed millions of other squirrels.
And they brought in these little serpents to chase the squirrels, and they ate everything, and then they had to bring in a gorilla to eat the snakes. The gorillas turned on people. Look, it's
a bit like that, you think?
Yeah, it's. I mean, but again, I also the point I make to people when they say these very, and how disillusioned they are. Remember, we've just gone through a 1 in 100-year event in terms of this pandemic, and we ran blind for a lot of it. And I think our leaders were making decisions the best they could with the information they had. And I was lucky enough to sort of, sit in on and hear some of the thinking behind some of those decisions and talking to people and MPs and politicians. And it's not easy. It's not bloody easy. And we're grumpy.
We're in the top 3 of doing the best with the pandemic and stuff. Financially, I'm not sure how we are.
Yeah, but we do this.
Lives and stuff. People only remember what we paid for petrol last. They don't give a fuck anymore. They don't want to wear a mask, but we need to. We need to wear masks. They don't care though.
And I think that we've just got to dial some of that shit back. I don't think we've got a right to spaz out in some of the ways that we do. We get so angry about this. So like, chill out, step back, count the blessings. And I think that some of that has to be done because there was never going to be a perfect resolution to this, was there?
No. 3 years ago, I'm eating Scotch fillet. Today, I'm mince on toast with a side of baked beans.
Right.
I mean? And to spoil myself, I'll throw a couple of poached eggs on the side. I mean, I'm making ends meet.
Right.
Things aren't easy. It's tough.
Right.
And, so
there's no more. You check the price of that pesto before you buy it now, don't you? Previous. Just as much pesto as you like. Who cares? Pesto City. Now you'll go, what's on special?
Yeah. I remember I think it could be 4 years ago, memories come up. Oh, there we are in Queenstown. Oh, we're skiing. And this week, my kids have just been watching Netflix.
Yeah. And you're going, how much are they putting Netflix up now?
Yeah, I've actually dropped Prime off my selection now. Yeah.
Right.
Have you watched Severance on Apple TV? Check that out, man. I think there's some streaming sites that will give it to you for free. You don't want to pay the Evil Empire, but Severance is bloody good television.
Right. I've heard that Apple. I've heard the morning show is amazing.
Morning show is really good. I think we're waiting for another season to come out, so that's really good. And also Blackbird on Apple. Apple don't have a lot of stuff on there, but what they got is good.
Okay. Have you seen Succession?
Oh yeah. I'm totally.
That's so good, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Hey, I wonder how many people are doing it hard, but still, kind of buying lotto tickets. I mean, I'm things around.
You know that New Zealand's really doing it hard when the bonus, the lotto bonus, only goes up $1 million each week. Like normally it gets to sort of 6 million, then goes from 6 to 8 to 10. But this week, last month it was 6, 7, 8. That's because people have said, I'm not paying. I'm not. They're saying to themselves, I will not buy a lotto ticket if all I'm going to get is $5 million. That's not going to get me anywhere. People are waiting until then I'll buy it. Like we turned down $5 million, right?
Yeah. You need 10 or it's not even fucking worth it.
I'm not buying until it gets the double digit.
Yeah. Hey, what do you reckon? We're hearing, and I think everyone knew this. Anyone who's ever used or been online before knows that deep down that TikTok's not good for you on a Chinese spying level. But what's your thoughts about that? Some countries want to ban this technology. I know my kids are loving it, like simply for the dancing and some of the funny videos. That person, is it Liam? Who is that?
Yeah, that's my daughter frantically calling me. God damn it, get out. No, she can wait. Look, there is a serious problem with the way that China takes that information. They have been very, very clever in the way. They've been very, very clever in the way that they have set up their server base. They're able to take any information they like from various people on stuff. And I think there is a legitimate issue in terms of cybersecurity and where that information is going. The Chinese government does what it likes with it. I think you should be concerned. However, they learn so much from it. You know, my daughter's talking to me about abortion rights from stuff that she's watching online with all of her girlfriends, and talking about Ukrainian kids who are stuck in the war because they're watching them and they're from that point of it's an amazingly artistic and creative thing for them to enjoy. But in terms of the data that you're just handing over to Beijing, it's all terrible. It's all terrible.
Oh, yeah, totally. I wonder how China can send us misinformation, though. It's like, I mean, I get the odd buy a fake Louis Vuitton bag come through, on the ads and stuff.
I'm not sure that they would have the maybe they would use it to create misinformation in the West, but I think that what they're primarily getting is data harvesting. They're getting all of this information on our citizens and entire, data and biometrics as people grow, and they've got their facial recognition and all of their passwords and all of their. So I think it's from a Chinese perspective, it's not so much a case of misinforming us or twisting us. It's just massive data harvesting.
Shitheads. Okay, just before we go, TVNZ in New Zealand, I think Willie Jackson, God bless him, is looking after that portfolio of broadcasting temporarily. Yep. Who knows? Do you know any of the latest? Are those two cats going to merge just to save on the rent?
Oh God, yeah. And I think the focus is going to be the end user. What will users actually get at the end of it? I mean, if it's just the merging of bureaucracies and no one really gets a better service, then it'll be considered a failure. But if you get a situation whereby you get a 24-hour news channel out of it, then I think people would see So it's going to be focused on what the end product's going to be, I think.
Excellent. Well, mate, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Now, your number one podcast. Where can we find it? So we want to check it out. So the road rap, is it?
Live streamed 7:30 Mondays live stream. You can find it on Spotify, YouTube, and Rover.
Okay, mate. Till next week. Thanks very much, Martyn Bradbury. All the best, mate. See you soon.
Bye.
That's the show, everybody. Make sure you have yourself a fantastic little Thursday and Friday. Sunday, I'll be at Chapel Bar and Bistro. I hope those guys pay me. It's quite the campaign. From 4 o'clock till late, embarrassing myself and my family. On behalf of everybody here at Talkback, have an excellent weekend and a very good evening. Bye-bye.